For the first year and a half that we went to the class, Kai said, I don't like this, I don't want to do this. And I said, honey, you're Chinese. You need to learn to speak Chinese. And it was funny because after he had moaned for a year and a half, eventually he came to me about a month ago and said, Mommy, I'm Chinese. How come I can't speak Chinese? And I said, yeah, that's what I want to know. How come you don't study your Chinese?
We try to make their culture a part of them every day. We try to. We try to not let them forget their Chinese culture, where they came from. But it's not, I guess it's not as important as our everyday lives, that we go to work, we go to school, we do our homework, we have our piano lessons, we have our cheerleading classes.
Cheer competitions.
So I guess because we have so many different things going on, that we do our thing, kind of day to day, but it's not really, I guess it's not a priority, We think about it, we talk about it, but it's not an everyday thing. We just kind of do our lives every day,
I think that families who seek to adopt internationally, especially today, are very aware that we're a very small world, and that going to visit in China is like getting on a plane and visiting neighbors or friends. So I think it's just become more accepted as well to look outside the United States, and we're a melting pot. I mean, all of our states incorporate all kinds of cultures now, and so it doesn't seem as foreign probably as it did 10 and 15 years ago for us to step outside of the United States to bring our children home.
C, D, E, F, G.
Donuts. Only run out of ears. So she's a little heavier than Erica. She still eats very good. Her favorite food is cake. Run out of ears. So she's a little heavier than Erica.
He does talk about his Chinese mommy. That he was in his Chinese mommy's tummy, and that's how he was born.
She still enjoys looking at the pictures. Of course, she realizes that she was abandoned as a baby, and that we don't know why. All we know is that for whatever reason her mother couldn't keep her. And I've always told her that I feel blessed and destined that I was to be her mother. And but she is completely aware of her origins.
He's curious. I mean, he wanted to know his story, so when he was about 3, we started telling him his story, and now he recites it to us. And he sometimes, as a bedtime story, he says, "Mommy, tell me my story." So I'll tell him his story again, and how the policeman found him, and they took him to the orphanage, and so he really likes that.
I feel I owe it. I mean, to be open and honest about anything. I just want it to be at the time when she is ready and wants to talk about something, we talk about it. There's nothing, we owe, the honest and openness, but as far as, I don't think there has been a need to be proactive and address something before it really needs to be addressed. I mean,
every time we travel, no matter where we go, we always try and find Chinatown. So like if we go to Boston or New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles, so that he can see that it's more than just Arkansas, or it's more than just this small band of children, that it's all over. There are Chinese people all over this country, and they live differently than just this little band of 8 people.
What we do in terms of adoptive parent training is to educate our adoptive parents so that they can say the words to their children. They talk about staying away from drugs. They talk about sex with their kids. They talk about all kinds of things. This is just another topic that we encourage them to talk about at the dinner table. Let's talk about your adoption. Today's your adoption day. We adopted you 5 years ago. Isn't that great? I wonder what your birth family's doing right now. You've got that wonderful singing voice. I wonder if you inherited that from your birth family, because you certainly didn't get it from me. Just talking about it and keeping an open conversation with your children is the best avenue for them to feel good about who they are.
He has African American friends, he has Caucasian friends, he has Asian Indian friends, he has some Chinese friends. So it's funny, 5.5, and I love this age, probably up until about 7 or 8. Nobody really knows the difference, and nobody really cares. It's not until they learn that there is a difference between people that they start making those distinctions.
They fit in so well with wherever we go, whatever we do. The only times we seem to really get asked about, your child is Chinese, is usually by other parents who have adopted Chinese children. So as far as them not fitting in or sticking out or not being a part of whatever goes on, we don't find a problem, or we don't have people don't stare at us going down the road or walking down the street. They don't stare at us because we have 2 Chinese children. We're just normal.
So I guess the fact that the world is getting smaller and we have much more access to social media, it's just much more accepted, and people don't see it as strange or odd when our children don't match our faces. It's much more common to see families that don't look alike. We're very conspicuous sometimes, but 10 years ago people would give you that second glance and think, they don't match, how can they be a family? Today I don't think people even pay attention to it because it's more of the norm. These kids from hard places tend to grow up to be wonderful people and wonderful adults who had a hard start, but thankfully, because of adoption and because of the desire for parents to be parents to any child, whatever they look like, wherever they are born, whatever their story, it's a win-win. We get to be parents and these children get to have a family. And hopefully they overcome those early feelings of sadness about how their life started. It's an amazing process.